with a couple breaths. We're going to inhale. We're going to exhale. When we inhale, we're going to think about positivity. We're going to think about light. We're going to exhale any anxiety, any stress we're feeling. We're going to inhale goodness, peace, prosperity. We're going to exhale any doubt, any negativity, any fear. We're just going to know that every single word that's going to come out of our mouths is going to be the perfect word, the perfect time. Hashem does not make mistakes. He put us here in the right place for the right thing. And people are going to learn from our message. They're going to hear our wisdom. They're going to hear our knowledge. They're going to feel good from it. They're going to get power from it. We're going to be able to explain everything we want. Everything's going to come to us, and it's all just going to flow.
Thank you, brother.
My friend,
Let's
my pleasure.
go.
What's up? Welcome, everyone, to the Power of Positivity and Prayer podcast. We have a very special guest today, my good friend, Evan Metz. He has the Fulfilled Being YouTube channel. He is an amazing coach. He helps people with positivity, with gratitude, with spirituality, with bringing joy and love and positivity into this world. So we need a lot more people like you, Evan, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Appreciate you having me on. And
course.
thank you for everything that you do, man. Starting this podcast, the WhatsApp that you send every single morning with the prayers, with the expression of just positivity and gratitude, and you're an inspiration, man.
Thanks, brother. You know, I'm just trying to do, I think we all can do one little thing in this world. If we could all just spread a little positivity, do some kindness, this world would be a better place. And I really appreciate you being on here too, because I know you do your daily videos every day, and I've watched them. To be honest, I haven't watched them all because you do every day and they're long, but they're good. And so, you know, whenever I get a chance and I have some time between work and, you know, I also pray every day, twice a day. So whenever I have some time, I check it out, and you guys should check out his YouTube channel. We're going to link it in the description below, and you guys will have a great time. But I wanted to ask you, my first question I always ask my guests is, you know, tell us a little bit about the story about how we met, what you remember about it, and, you know, tell us a little bit about what you do and explain that, please.
All right. So how we met, I don't remember the exact moment, but I remember it being at the JCC through football. And I always remember you just having this incredible energy about you. Like everywhere you're going, you're just like having a good time and smiling. And so I always remember that about you. And I don't think we like spoke that much back in the day, but we got to know each other a little bit. And I think we've more connected recently as, you know, we've both found this mission in bringing ourselves and other people joy and bringing more love and more peace into this world.
Amen.
And so it's been really, really cool reconnecting our, you know, phone conversations. I remember we had one like maybe 6 months ago or something when I was first starting my podcast, and we just connected and we were like, let's go. Right. And so I appreciate reconnecting now.
For sure.
And then in terms of what I do, so I create videos that help people transform their emotions. So a lot of people nowadays have shame, guilt, fear. I think there's a lot that's going on in society with, you know, phones, technology, and we're not able to really process our emotions. And a lot of people are trapped in the rat race. And a lot of people are feeling these emotions and don't know why they're feeling these emotions, or they're not even feeling the emotions. They feel like something's off. And so what really drove me to start doing this is like, I was feeling that. Like back in 2020, I really hit a low point in my life because I was chasing all these things on the external world. I was trying to do big things in real estate, and I was like really attached, like my identity was attached to this external success. And when the things weren't coming along like I wanted them to, I really hit this place of like deep anxiety and depression. It was hard to wake up. And that experience actually led me to this personal growth and spiritual growth, like revelation.
Wow.
And I met my coach at the time, Jeffrey Combs, and he told me to read this book, Letting Go by David Hawkins. And that book helped me realize that I would never find happiness and fulfillment chasing things on the external world, because it's a rat race, right? Like you go and you're like, okay, and a lot of people say this, and I was one of these people, like, once I own this much real estate, or once I have this much money, then I'll be happy, safe, secure, or I'll be proud. I'll finally be proud of myself then, or I'll make the people around me proud.
Right.
But that's a moving target, right? Like you get there and then
you need more.
You need more.
Always.
You need more. Or even if you get there and you're like happy there, well, what if I lose it? And so the thing is if we're attaching our internal self to these external things,
for sure,
it's a never ending channel to get nowhere. And so this book really helped me understand, like, whoa, wait, actually, let me start with shifting my internal self, my internal feeling happy.
Right.
And then let the outside do what it does, because at the end of the day, all we're looking for is a sense of peace, a sense of joy, a sense of security.
Of
like
course.
That's what we're after. And society has trained us like, well, you need these things in order to do it.
Right. You need a big house. You need a fancy car. You need to go to parties. You need to go out. You need to drink. You need to do these things that, maybe they're obviously not the most important things in the world, because the most important things in the world are waking up grateful for the day, having a family, leaning into your family, we're people of faith, having a belief in something bigger than yourselves, and knowing that the material world, like you said, isn't what it's all about. It's about the spiritual world. It's about your understanding that you can grow spiritually, and you will continue to grow spiritually. And yes, that's a moving target, but at least that's something where you will feel fulfilled in your search of that, and you'll grow every single day in that. And it's not something that will bring you down. It's not something that you can lose. Once you gain your spirituality, right? Like me and you, like we're walking on different levels right now in this life. I feel like everyone else is kind of like stagnant, staying the same, chasing money, chasing fame, chasing, work success. And those things are important. I don't want to, everyone who's here that's a successful professional, me and Evan are both professionals. I'm a lawyer. Evan does professional things too. Like there's things that we have to do to get by in life and to provide for our families and to provide for life. But at the end of the day, those are things that they can get taken away. Like you said in a second, God forbid, you get into a car accident or you get into like some sort of brain injury, and I wouldn't be able to work as a lawyer if I had a brain injury, right? But my spirit would still be alive inside, and my thoughts would still be alive inside, God willing, like God forbid you get paralyzed, right? Their spirituality will never diminish. Once you find your level of spirituality, you just want more of it. You just grow into it. You just want to be kind to people. You want to give goodness to the world, and you want to raise people up. And that's what the spiritual world brings to you. And that's what being a good person brings to you. It brings fulfillment. And it's something where you can always have that. And no matter if you're poor or rich, you can be spiritual. And no matter if you're good, if you're good today in your financial success, you're comfortable today in your financial success, you could still be a miserable person if you have it all. I've seen people, and we talk about this a lot in our shores. Sometimes I have a religious, I go to these shores on Wednesday nights for the rabbis. They were speaking about it last week. Like, what is happiness? What is true happiness? True happiness is productivity. It's growth. It's struggling and overcoming those struggles and becoming a better person from them and growing from them. It's not how much money you make. They're going to bury you in the ground. They're not going to say how much money you had or how many buildings you built or all your businesses that you did. They're going to say, how good of a person was this guy? How good of a father was he? How good of a friend was he? How much kindness did he spread? How much goodness did he do? And yes, money works. Money helps. And you could be more charitable if you have money. But some people have all the money in the world and they're bad people, or they want to hoard it all for themselves. Me and you, I feel like once we get money, once we actually have like the means to change this world, we're going to be changing the world for the better. We're going to start foundations. We're going to start all these good things. So let me ask you this. Let me see what you have to say about that.
There's so many things.
Let's hear it.
But I want to start with the idea of like giving back, right? And so a lot of people, I've heard this from clients, is like, well, once I reach a certain place, like then I'll start giving back. And yes, your impact will rise. Like as you get more finances, you can give back more. But for the viewers, like even if you're not in that place yet, like what can you do now, right? What can you do now in this current state? And because that will bring you joy, that will bring you fulfillment, right? Like I know that you're constantly volunteering with people, you're helping the community, you're teaching spirituality to younger people, and it's bringing you that sense of joy and fulfillment. It's bringing them. So even if you don't have all the money in the world, like there are ways where you can really give back and make an impact. And like that brings me so much joy. Like I volunteer, I live in urban Jacksonville, underserved community, lots of foster kids. So like I volunteer with after school programs,
Wow.
summer camps. I'm about to get involved with like a football and basketball team.
Amazing.
So it's these things bring so much joy and fulfillment. And so that was something you touched on there. And to just for the viewer and the listener is like, hey, you can really make an impact right now. Like, don't let that false sense of like, it's that same thing with the happiness. Once I get to a certain point,
Right.
then I can give back. Once I get to a certain point, then
Right.
I'll be happy.
I always say
It's a path.
I always say it's either one day or day one. And it all starts with right now. What can you do in this moment? If you don't have the means, if you don't have the money to do it, then do an act of kindness. If you don't have the means to give a lot, then give a little bit. Like we're told as Jews, we have to give 10%. And so, I might not have $1 million right now, but whatever I do have, I'm giving that 10%. I'm doing it out of the goodness of my heart with no reservations, with no hesitation, knowing that it will come back to me in spades, and also knowing that I'm giving not to receive. You got to give to give. You have to give because it's the right thing to do, and you have to do the right thing. So let's transition now, and I want to ask you, because obviously you give a lot of talks, you help a lot of people out, and so you're a very positive person. You have a lot of fulfillment through the spirituality. So explain what positivity means to you and how you implement it into your daily life.
What does positivity mean to me? Positivity is living with a sense of peace and fulfillment and joy. I think that positivity is this inner sense of well-being. And when we have more of it ourselves, naturally we will be able to give it more to the people around us.
Right.
So positivity for me, like the most important core thing for me, especially right now, I feel like I'm really on this growth journey, is continuing to invest in myself and my core, right? And so I think that the YouTube channel and the podcast that I have and all the content that I'm creating is really a side effect. Like that is not the main mission at the moment. The main mission that I have is to continue to progress, continue to feel more love, more joy, radiate more, become more of a lighthouse, because the more I do that, the more the more I can make an impact, the more people will feel that energy, the more people will feel that joy, and the deeper I can have an impact and really help people. And so it was like an interesting process with like the YouTube channel. Like when I started it, it had this like pure essence, and it was just all about helping people, right? And then what was interesting was I got 3-6 months into the podcast, and I found that I actually had started to lose the essence of it, because I started bringing on editors and overhead, and I wanted to make it this business, and then it became more of a business as opposed to the core of it, right? And so it became about the views and became about this. And so like you can get, even in the spirituality game, like you can get lost in like in
it's true. I have to know everything. I have to be on top of the world. I have to make sure that I'm giving everything at all times, because like you said, like once you kind of go into a business sense or make it a business or make it like, how many people am I sharing this with? How many people viewed my video today? Did people comment? Did people write on me? Did people ask me like, for help? No, it's really about, you like you said, your journey. Like with me and my daily talks, like I just do them every day, because I started after October 7th with just giving talks to these 16, 17-year-old kids from yeshiva after we met at Washington, D.C. for the 200,000 person rally for Israel. I just gave them daily talks. I wanted to motivate them. I saw that they were on this religious path with I wasn't on yet, but now I am. And I saw that who they were and who they could become. And I didn't want them to stray from the good path. Because I think religion and faith, and we'll get into that soon, but I think those two things, religion and faith, so a lot of people think that there are obligations and their burdens, and it's putting you in a box. But at the end of the day, if you have a structure to your life, it just teaches you consistency, dedication, commitment, honesty, love, faith, fulfillment. These are all things that will feed your spiritual being. And so yes, there are rules. We have to keep Shabbat. We can't use our phones. We can't work. We have to keep kosher. We can't eat certain things. We have to do mitzvahs. We have to make sure we watch what we say, what we do, everything we do. But when we live in that world, and I wanted to tell these kids, you got to stay on this track. This is a beautiful thing you guys are doing. This is what God wants us to do. And so I started with them, and then they're like, these are good talks. Why don't you tell your family and friends? So I started sharing with my family and friends. I share with you all the time.
100%.
And then I started a WhatsApp chat, and now I'm filming myself every morning. But for me, it's not about getting money out of it. Me, it's not getting views out of it. Yes, people comment, and it's great, and I love it when people comment and people actually like engage with me, and they'll like watch my video and they'll say, I got a great word out of you today, or you helped me, because that's all I want to do. If I could help one person, that's all I want to do out of my talks. One person, one day at a time. You can help one person, then that grows, then that person helps another person, then that person helps another person, and now you're spreading goodness and kindness throughout the land, which is our mission in life. There's three things that the world stands on for me, and people might be different. It's Torah, which is our Bible, our rules, our history. Everything that the Jewish people have been through is written in the Torah, and it came from God. That's the word of God. Then we have prayer. Every single day, I connect to God through my prayer, through my faith, through my dedication to go to shul to actually do the prayers. And the third one is kindness, spreading acts of kindness throughout the land, being a good person, smiling at people, asking people, do you need help? If they're in need, helping them. Because everything that happens in this life is from God. It's from Hashem. Everything he puts in your life is for a reason. It's a test. He wants to see how you're going to act and react in that moment. He's wanting to see how you're going to be. And he wants you to be a kind, caring, compassionate person, because he is a kind, compassionate, caring being and oneness, and he's everything, and he gave us our life, and he gave us our breath, and he wants us to be good people to each other, and he tests us in these ways, and he puts these things and these tests in our ways, because there's a path, one path and another path. There's only two sides to a coin, right? It's either white or black. It's either good or bad. And so if you think about it like that, then always be on the good path, always be on the right path, always do the good thing when you have the option, because we all have choices in this life. So let's talk about now a little bit about prayer and faith, because I know that you are Jewish, but obviously every Jew is different. We're secular, we're traditional, we're religious. Where are you on your journey there? And are you trying to become more religious or more spiritual? I know you're spiritual, that's great. But are you trying to follow more laws? And what do you think about the whole, religious versus spiritual thing? I want to hear about that.
So for me, I feel like my spirituality is this trust and faith in God. And God to me is not the classical Jewish or Judeo-Christian God. My biggest influence, I would say, is Eastern philosophy and this sense of oneness. So God is this entity that is everywhere, everything. And it's not like me and then there's God. Like God is in me, right. God is me, and God is you, right. And God is everywhere and everything. And so we're all interconnected as one. And it's this beautiful feeling to have it everywhere. And it's just like knowing and trusting that everything is divine and everything happens for a reason.
Amen.
And it has brought me so much value to discover that, because back when I was young, I went to private Jewish school, and I was like the least religious. Like I was definitely atheist as a kid, like 100%.
Wow, and you're such a spiritual guy now.
Yeah.
And you just said all those beautiful things about the oneness of God.
Yes.
So you've come a long way.
Yeah. I mean, it shifted for me. I mean, I was 100% an atheist. I was like, there's no God. Like I was like, for sure no.
Wow.
And it was also because just being in like the school setting, I didn't like the structure of it all. Right. It's like,
yeah, you want to rebel a little bit as a kid. Everyone does.
Yeah. And also like I was very rational. I used to be
logical. If you can't see it, it's not real.
Exactly.
If you can't prove it, then
exactly.
It doesn't exist.
So it's like I was looking at it back then. I just remember being a kid and like, you're telling me Moses split the seas? I'm like, why don't I ever see anyone split the seas? Yeah. And so like that was my thought process on it. And then as I got older again, I started to discover meditation. I started to discover Eastern philosophy, which isn't necessarily tied to the Torah. It's not tied to these stories. It's just this feeling. And so to me, it's all there. Like the Torah is in it, but also is every other scripture. And so is me, and so is everything. And so when I get into these deep states of meditation, I start feeling this aura, this sense that is greater than myself. And it's an incredible space and an incredible feeling.
Right.
And also it is very practical too, which is like, even if, and I have this sense, I have this belief, but like, even if I'm wrong, and even if like my theory is wrong, well, I know the good that it does in my life and the
Right.
people around me.
You see the change it makes.
I see the change it makes for me and everyone else. And so just from a practical perspective, like, it creates so much good in this world. Like, it creates so much good to have that sense of faith.
Right.
And so
I feel like when you're not religious or not spiritual, right? And there's a difference, but I think you can be both. Like, I'm both, but you know, if you're one or the other, I would say be spiritual if you can. You know, connect with that oneness, connect with that faith, that knowing that everything happens the way it should, and you can always connect back to your breath and the oneness of this universe. And if you believe in God or not, at least you believe in the oneness of the universe and that everything happens for a reason, and that you're on the right path, and whatever happens to you is the right thing. That's how you believe. But I'm saying, like, if you believe in that oneness and that goodness, you will never have a bad day. And I feel like the people that are atheists, the people that don't believe in God or actually doubt God, they're the most miserable. Why? Because they're cynical and they're skeptical and they don't have good beliefs and they think that everything is bad is happening. And, you know, they might believe in God and they might believe that God is evil. And they might say, yeah, God exists, but he's the devil, right? Or God forbid, Hasha Shalom. Like, basically, they think that God is here messing with you all day. If God is real, then why are there wars? If God is real, why do people die? If God is real, then why does my mom have cancer? God forbid. Like, if God is real, then He wouldn't do all these bad things to me. Why did I have a flat tire today? Why did I, you know? But the thing is, all these things are in your life and part of your life because they're there to make you stronger. They're there to teach you something, to grow and learn from. Like I always say, it's either a lesson or it's a blessing. And if you come back to that, and that's your faith, and that's your God, and that's your guiding light, right? And we're all here to be lights. But if you can tap into that, I feel like that's where you get your power from, your strength from. Yeah.
I think life is like, you get to choose the lens that you put on it. You get to choose your glasses.
Exactly.
And so having that sense of faith is like a freaking amazing pair of glasses that you put on, and everything just is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like, pop the tire, sweet, like something better's happening because of that.
I probably would have, like, God forbid, something bad would happen to me on the way there. I wasn't supposed to be there today. Like,
Or you pop the tire and then you like go and you're like, oh, there's a store right there. And you walk in and you meet your like new best friend.
Exactly.
And because you have those glasses on, you're like, and we subconsciously are looking, our body and our mind finds what we believe. And so when we believe that tire happened for a reason and that pop for a reason, now when automatically your mind and body's looking around like, well, what, like, there's a good reason that's coming. So it's like, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, like that's the reason. But if you are like, that happened for a terrible reason, well, now your body and mind's looking for the bad reason, and then your eyes are going to be down and your posture is going to be like this, and you're going to miss all the incredible opportunities around you. So you get to choose your own reality at the end of the day. And so I've seen the value of shifting that mindset, shifting that perspective, and it's done so good in my life. Like, you just have the same situation and it just leads to great places when you have that perspective.
Right. So let's now transition to, let's talk about, if you don't mind sharing, like a time when you had some adversity, some obstacle, some challenge, you know, you can go back to anywhere, and where you have positivity and faith now. Take it back to where you used that and you tapped into that and that you needed it.
Fuck yeah. I like that. All right. So what just came to mind is I was climbing the Grand Teton, which is the highest mountain in the Tetons.
Where is that?
It's in like on the border of Idaho and Wyoming.
Okay.
So the mountain is 14,000 feet high, and it's a technical mountain to climb. It's like a 2-day climb. And so I was going, so like the first like day we did the hike to get up to the ridge line before you like climb and summit. And so we get up to like 12,000 feet and I start like feeling like a headache. I start feeling bad. I start feeling the altitude, and I had gone up to that sort of altitude one time before, and in Peru. And when I was there, I ended up getting really sick, and I was like out for like 4 or 5 days. Like it was like I got really sick, like from the
Wow.
altitude, and it was bad. So, but the thing was on this time around, like I just had that positive mindset. I just knew that like everything was happening for a reason. And I really set my intention. I set my intention in that journey, that 2 day journey, was to connect deeply with myself, to connect deeply with my friends, to connect deeply with my family, and to connect deeply with everyone that I love.
You put that intention and purpose into
I
it.
put that intention and purpose into that climb.
Yeah.
And I knew the whole time that like that was my intention. And so I had that spirit with me the whole time. And it was just like carrying me and feeling me. And so when I was sitting there at the bottom of the ridge, 12,000 feet, and it's like the sun's going down pretty soon and it's like time for bed. And like I'm there and the headache starts going, it starts pounding. And I'm like, I can't go to sleep. And like I'm supposed to climb this mountain tomorrow. Like,
try not to curse.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm going to climb this mountain tomorrow. How am I going to do this? And like, it was just all going through my mind. And then I remembered my intention. I remembered my purpose. And it's there to connect. And it's there to be there with myself and connect deeply with myself and my family and the people that I love.
Of course.
And so it just completely shifted my mindset. I'm like, this is an opportunity. And so I was like, this is an opportunity. And so I ended up getting out of the tent and I walked out and I went to like the top of the ridge line that could see both sides. I'm just sitting there like meditating, like feeling everyone that I love and feeling myself and feeling the peace. And
You're going back there right now.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And the sun was coming down on the one side and it created this like orangeness on the Tetons, which is these massive peaks all around. And the colors were changing and you got the sunset on one side and you have huge valleys on both sides. Wow. And I sat for 4 hours meditating, like just observing, and my headache went away and any altitude sickness just completely went away. Wow. And I experienced one of the greatest peace I've ever had in my entire life.
Wow.
And it went from that pain to the incredible sense of peace. And I was just there in wonder. And then the sun went down during this process and the stars came out and it was no moon. There was no moon that night. And just out in the middle of nowhere on top of this mountain. Wow. With like stars everywhere.
What a story. Wow, I'm visualizing everything you're saying. I'm like, I want to be there with you right now. I just want to be
there. And so I ended up, after all that, getting like 2 hours of sleep because we were starting to climb the next morning at like 3 a.m. And I felt so fresh. Nice. I felt like the most fresh, ready to go, right. Like happy. And that next morning, we had climbed from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. to get up to the peak. And I was just smiling and happy, doing some technical climbing with my climbing guide. And it was just fun. And then we get close to the top and like this overwhelming sense of joy and peace came over me again. And where I was just in tears. Like I knew the peak was right there and I just start crying as I'm climbing. Because again, the intention. I wasn't there by myself. Like I was there deeply with myself and with everyone that I love, like my business partners, my romantic partner at the time, my family, like my team, my business team, like everyone was there and I was like connecting so deeply with them. And when I got to the top, I was standing out there and I took this selfie video and I'm there just like crying and telling everyone how much I love them.
Wow.
And just looking out as the sun is rising and now I'm on the top of the mountain, just like looking out everywhere. It's just like 14,000 feet in the air. Like it was just a wild experience. And
so you could have, in that moment, given up. You could have said, I'm going to succumb to the pain of the headache. I'm going to give up. I'm not going to continue on. I'm not going to finish out this 2,000 climb. You only had 2,000 feet left.
Yeah.
You could have said, you know what? My body's telling me something. I got to feel bad about this. Why me? I can't get this headache out of my head. But instead you said, no, I want to go back into my purpose. I want to go back into my intention. Why did I come here? I came here to be with my family. I did this for me. I did this for my friends. I did this for the people around me. I have a purpose. I have an intention. I'm going to fulfill it. And I'm going to go try to make myself feel better. And
Well,
you went there.
I think it's like life. And this is what I've learned is when we're so focused on the peak, like we miss everything. And a lot of times if we're so focused on the peak, we don't end up getting to the peak.
Right.
It's about the process.
One step at a time.
It's just about the process, loving the process,
Right.
about the intention. It's like, why are we going to the peak? And yes, if we're so focused on the peak, any obstacle that gets in the way is like, fuck. Sorry. Was not supposed to say that.
It's okay.
But it's like, and then
there you
go. It's like, why is this happening? Right. And it's this huge obstacle, and that's where the fear, that's where the anxiety, that's where all the thoughts, because you think life is about the mountain, you think life is about the house, you think life is about the car,
right?
You think life is about the money,
right?
The top of the mountain,
top of the mountain, right? Getting there, yeah.
But just like that mountain for me, now I look at it as like, wow, this deal fell apart. Like I do real estate, I develop, I do all this deal fell apart. Wow, that's awesome. Like, what is my intentionality? My intentionality is to grow spiritually.
Yeah.
So that event is an opportunity for me to lean into myself and become stronger and become more resilient and become more loving.
Exactly.
And or like something happens in a relationship, like me and my I had a fiance, right? And like we split up.
Yeah.
And so how do I look at that situation and make that stronger and find more gratitude and peace through that process, right? And so like coming back full circle to, I had stopped doing the YouTube channel for a while because I lost the meaning behind it, right? As I mentioned, I was getting lost in the views.
You're saying it's a business, became a business.
And I had to take a step back. I was like, this isn't it. This isn't why I chose to do it. But then, with me splitting up with my fiance, and as I got through that experience, I learned so much through it. 3 or 4 months after we split up, I was like, I found this inspiration to make a video about us splitting up and the lessons that I learned through that experience to help other people.
You actually put that into the universe and you actually made it public.
And I made it and that was my first talking head video and now I do, like, ever since then I've been doing it daily.
Wow.
So it's like, and with a pure intention and pure purpose. And I learned from the experience,
right?
When with the YouTube channel, I lost like the foundation of it. Like I learned from that experience, like me splitting up with my fiance, like I learned so much about relationships, and that's going to set me up so well for the future. And it's leading to me reconvening with my purpose and my alignment. And it's all because I have that belief and that intention that everything happens for a reason.
Amazing.
It's the spirituality. That's
right.
The core.
That's right.
That's the core of it all, because I believe it, because I know, because I have those glasses on that I say, yo, this is challenging, but like this is happening for a reason.
Right.
And so it's all
incredible.
It's all tied
incredible.
together.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. That's incredible, because I think that is the key to life, that we all go through struggles. We all go through hardships, whether it is losing a loved one, losing a relationship, losing a job, losing money, whatever it is, you're losing something. You're always going to gain something even better. You're losing something to get even more. You're losing something, you go down so you can go even higher.
Yeah.
And life is up and down and up and down and up and down. And that's what makes you stronger. I actually, I was watching, like, I scroll on Instagram sometimes, which I shouldn't, but I find myself getting lost there. And there was a video where they had a paper, right? They had a guy had a cup. He had a paper on top of the cup. It was a flat paper. And he put the paper on top of the cup, and then he put like some keys on top of the cup. He's like, okay, this is just, if you just stay the same your whole life and nothing happens, you stay the same, this is your life, flat. Threw the keys on top, paper falls right through, keys go to the bottom of the cup. But then he takes a paper and he folds it and he bends it and he makes it like an accordion where, it is ups and downs and peaks and valleys. And what happens? He puts the paper with the folded paper on top, and he puts the keys on top, and it holds it. it holds it up. The keys are
Mm.
held up by this paper with the
Mm.
ridges, with
Mm.
the ups and downs, and it's just like,
Mm.
because your life is ups and downs, and that's what holds you up. That's what puts
Mm.
you higher.
Mm.
Being flat, staying the same, it's not, this life is not about that. This
Mm.
life you will have
Mm.
peaks and valleys, you
Mm.
will, but you get through those peaks and valleys, and it makes you a stronger person. It builds resilience. It
Mm.
brings character.
Mm.
Perseverance brings structure and character and value to your
Mm.
life. And you appreciate now the good parts of your life, because like we say, I say prayer every day, and it's a gratitude prayer. And it said, only after being in the darkness can one appreciate the light. Because really, you don't know what true happiness is, true light is, until you have to be in those dark times.
Mm.
You have to go through those things, and you have to
Mm.
grow through those things. And
Mm.
you basically know that, like you said, everything happens for a reason. And you're not a religious person, but you're such a spiritual light, and you share that light with people, and that's an amazing thing. And so, can you share with the viewers some tools, besides what
Mm.
we've talked about already, like some tools that they could implement? Maybe someone's going through a struggle right now, and I'm sure, hopefully, not everyone's going through a struggle. But if you're watching this and you are, I want you to listen to what Evan has to say, because he's an amazing person,
Mm.
and he has such knowledge in this space, and he coaches, and we're getting such valuable information from him right now. So basically, I want to tell the viewers how, some tools that they could use if they're in a dark
Mm.
place right now, or they're
Mm.
going through a struggle and
Mm.
they don't have positivity, and they're like, where can I get it from? How can I tap into that? How can I become a little more spiritual? What tools have you used in the past to get you to this level?
Mm. The first thing that comes to my mind is like maybe we could get a little bit more specific on like an example, because I think there's different tools for different situations, right?
Right.
And so maybe you give me
All right.
like
So let's give an example.
yeah.
I think the big example we have is relationships. Let's talk about relationships. You talk about your fiance. I had a fiance also. I'm not with her anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I want, where did you find that I need to get back into this podcast, or I need to snap out of this rut that I'm in? Because I'm sure after it happened,
Mm-hmm.
you were in a rut, like we all are. When we have a relationship that fails, we think, why me? Why this? Why is this happening to me? When you get into a relationship, you put your best foot forward. You want it all to work out. You want it to be the best thing it could ever be. And then when it doesn't work out, you think, well, am I cursed? Or, what did I do wrong? Or, why is this not working out for me? And then you would have to get yourself out of it, because obviously we're still here. We're looking for new relationships, right? We're not quitting until we actually find a family, which I think is the most important thing in this world. So tell us about the tools you use to get yourself out of that abyss, that dark place, and
Definitely.
bring you up.
Definitely. So for me, it comes back to the spirituality. It's that sense of knowing that it's the belief. It's like that belief in God, a higher power, that belief in myself, knowing that everything happens for a reason. And just having that knowing makes it so beautiful, even in the challenging times, like where you can like be in like the depths and like have a smile at the same time. It's like a little weird, right? And it's because I had gone through challenging times before and like really worked on this skill that I was able to like know that and understand that, right? Because like if you don't have that faith and you're like going through something like this for the first time, like that, then your whole world is apart and you're like, this is the end, right?
Right.
But no doubt, like after that experience, like I felt some of the most sadness I've ever, probably the most sadness I've ever felt in my entire life. And some days again, I would get up late and I would just like kind of sit in the sadness, right? And
you have to grieve. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
When you go through something like that, you have to grieve. You have to, think for yourself, go into your place, do whatever you need to do. But I'm sure you tapped into your meditation, right? You tapped into your family, right? You tapped into your faith, your oneness, your spirituality. And you said that, everything happens for a reason. So I think the mindset is something that we can tell people.
Yeah. It's the mindset, it's the belief, it's the knowing that like, hey, this is all happening for a reason. And like even the pain and the suffering is like happening for a reason.
Right.
And so like that belief, I could like look at it and have that knowing. And like now I'm looking back and I'm like, all right, cool. Like it's all happening for a reason.
Exactly.
And so
something better was meant for you.
Something better is meant for me. And like I'm creating and I'm feeling so great because I had that mentality through it. And I was able to shift my emotions really quickly because of my belief in it. So I think it's about having that belief. It's about shifting those emotions is very, very important in a situation like that.
It's so funny because, some people, I've met a lot of people, I've been getting religious, right? So I've been getting a lot of people that are like, wow, how do you believe what you believe? And, actually, I get challenged sometimes by some people. I was just out last night. I got challenged by some guy that I thought, he was cool. He's still cool. Like, I'm not going to say he's not. Everyone is an amazing
Mm,
person, everyone's
mm,
God's creature. But, he was challenging me on, like, so you believe in God, right? I was like, yeah, of course. He's like, how do you know? And I was like, what does belief mean? And I'm like, belief is, knowing, faith, trust, positivity, gratitude, graciousness, compassion. That's belief. Like,
mm,
belief is the oneness. And
mm,
he's like, no, I'm going to actually look it up on the internet right now. Belief is an opinion, and it's an opinion, and it's something that can't be proven, or it's a belief is thinking without having specific proof of. There, you have no proof. You have no proof that God exists. I'm like, no. How do I know God exists? Because I'm here. I'm talking to you right now. I got woken up this morning. My
mm,
family is amazing. I have
mm,
a beautiful house. I have a beautiful car. I have a family. I have a job. I have all these good things in my life, and I'm still here.
mm,
And he's like, no, well, how do you know that? Like, I don't believe in God. And if God was real, then he, like I said before, he wouldn't do all these bad things. He wouldn't have wars and sicknesses and famine. And, that's a very cynical guy. And I said, graciously, I said, sir, I disagree with you. You're free to believe what you want, but I'm trying to get you out of this light. I'm trying to get you out of the darkness, because I think that people that live without that, without the sense of God, without the sense of knowing, they think they can control everything, and that everything they do, obviously everything we do, it's free will. God gave us a
mm,
free will to wake up in
mm,
the morning and do what we will with our day, right?
mm,
But he puts the things in front of us that we need, and he sends everything that we want. And everything that we ask for is from him, because he
mm,
can hear our innermost
mm,
thoughts.
mm,
He hears our thoughts and our prayers even before we say them,
mm,
even before they materialize into words.
mm,
So I was like looking at him with a lot of light, and I was saying, I'm going to pray for you, and I hope that you change your mind. Obviously, I will believe. You cannot change my beliefs. You cannot change who I am. You cannot change what I think. And I just, I pray for those kinds of people. And I really just try to do whatever I can to inspire people,
mm,
through my talks every day. I try to inspire people, with, that sense of, hey, wow, what a positive person this is. What a great guy this guy is.
mm,
And, the way he talks, the way he speaks, the way he just verbalizes these connections and this positivity and this gratitude. And it actually started out as the power of positivity for me.
mm,
It didn't even become the power of positivity and prayer until I started becoming religious.
mm,
And then when I started becoming religious and I started praying every day and started reading our book, I read all our prayers in Hebrew. And for me to read those prayers, excuse me, in English, they're Hebrew prayers that I read in English. But all the prayers that I read, they're in English, and I understand them, and I actually connect with these prayers, and we read the same thing every single
mm,
day. And after a while, you just read these prayers, and you're listening, and you're reading how God is faithful, God is righteous,
mm,
God is kind,
mm,
God is compassionate. He's all knowing. He's everywhere. He took your fathers from Egypt. He took your fathers out of the depths of wherever they were, and because of their belief and their covenant with him, and the contract that Abraham had with God, because he was about to kill his only son.
mm,
Abraham believed in God so much that he was going to sacrifice his only son Isaac. He took him up to the top of the mountain. We read this story every day in the morning prayers in Shacharit. He took his son to the top of the mountain. He saddled his donkeys, and he went with his servants, and he went to the top of the mountain, and he tied his son Isaac to the tree, and he got his knife in his hand. He was about to kill his son. He's ready because God told him, go kill your
mm,
son. If
mm,
you believe in me, go kill him.
mm,
He said, God, I believe in you. You've given me all my things so far. Like, why wouldn't I believe in you? If this is the right way, if you're telling me, if I'm hearing it, I got to do it. He goes, about to kill his son. God says, no, stop, because you believe in me so righteously. I'm going to make a covenant with you right now that I will take care of you and all your for all your descendants and everyone who comes after you, and I will take care of you because you believed in me. And so
mm,
that's what I think, that at the end of the day, everyone, even if you don't fully believe in God, becoming religious, doing all the laws, if you have that spirituality, if you
mm,
have that oneness and that belief that everything happens for a reason, then the way you do things, everything will happen the right way,
mm,
because you are walking with God.
mm, mm,
If you walk with God and you do what he wants you to do, which is be a good person. Number one, be a good person, be a kind person, be a caring person, have compassion, do good deeds.
mm,
And then if you could from kindness, if you could bring it to prayer, pray, you know. And if I would say for people who don't know how to pray, just talk, just say some words. Whatever it is in the morning, just say, thank you for waking me up. Feel your heart. You know, if you have some food, thank you for the food. Be grateful when you see a rainbow, you know, when you see the ocean, you know, just anything. Really, just bring it back to that.
Something that you said, I forget if it was on one of your previous podcasts or if you said it on one of the morning messages, but it really resonated with me, which was like, first thing when you wake up in the morning, thank God for returning your soul.
Yeah.
And
we say this, and hold your thought, because I'll tell everyone the prayer. It's, I thank you, living and eternal King, that you have graciously returned my soul to me. Great is your faithfulness. That's what you say when you wake up. First thing, don't touch your phone. Don't even rub your eyes. Say that. If you start your day with that every single day, you have a different level you're walking on. You go bring it back to the Creator. You say he's faithful. Just like he's faithful to you, you will be faithful to him. You will observe and be a good person. And you will know that everything comes from him. And you thank him. Just like you thank your parents, he's the Father. He created your parents. He created you. He created everything around you. So that's what it was. But please.
Yeah, with the that morning for me, like when you said that, like, and just from a more secular perspective, right? Because I'm not as religious, spiritual, but not as religious. So for me, it was just that idea of like waking up and like, what is the first thing that is going through your mind in the morning? Like, and starting that off with a positive, like something positive, and giving. And for me, yes, I'm gonna give thanks to God, right? And I thank you, God, for. I don't have the prayer down, but like, thank you, God, for waking me up and for the beautiful sun and like for being here, because in the past it wasn't that way for me. In the past, I'd wake up and the first thing in the morning is like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. This is like all the things I got to do in order to like reach the proverbial mountain, and so then I could be happy when I get to the top of the mountain. And so it was just hearing that from you, like, I think is a really practical tip for anyone that's a religious or secular. Either way, you know, if you're religious, really bringing that God element, bringing that trust. But from a more secular perspective, if you're not really there yet in the trust and the belief, start off with, how are you talking to yourself in the morning?
Exactly.
Like, what are the words that are, you know, coming in through your head? And this is like another practical tip. I want to come back to like you asked about practical tips for people, to feel more positivity.
Definitely.
What is going through your mind, and like what is going through your emotions like most of the day, right? And if it's a lot of negativity and a lot of doubt and a lot of shame and guilt and negative thoughts, a practical way to do it is just to feed yourself information of positivity. And just listen to it. And then from that, you can really retrain your subconscious, because you've grown up with, you know, certain friends, society, bosses, parents, and whatever your societal thing, like that is the noise that came in and basically created this dialogue inside yourself.
Right.
So if you're sitting here at like 30 years old, you know, in our young 30s, or if you're in your 20s or 40s, you've had, and then you inside your own head and your own mind have been talking to yourself the same way for that many years.
Right.
You've ingrained it so deep. And so how do you shift that? You feed yourself beautiful information. So when you get the belief and the faith in God, do Torah every day. That is a constant reminder. And now your subconscious just has that belief where it's like, yes, like this is it. And now you feel positive and happy.
Right.
And so if you're not quite there on the religious side, like what are other resources? Like there are beautiful books out there. There are beautiful other resources that still have that positive energy, more from a secular level.
Exactly.
And I post a lot about some of those resources.
Go to your YouTube. Go to his YouTube, guys. You'll see a lot of positivity.
Yeah.
Go to my page. You'll see a lot of positivity. It's all over. You have to tap into positive affirmations. Like you were saying, Evan, I think it's all about waking up and saying good things to yourself. And throughout the day, it starts with the morning, because obviously the first thing in the morning is your first thoughts are going to be the thoughts for the rest of your day. So if you start and you say, thank you for the morning. It's a beautiful morning. I always start my talks with, good morning. It's going to be a beautiful morning. We have the power to make it a great day with our mindset. And that, I truly believe that. And I
Mm.
say it over and over again. It's not just a shtick. It's like, you have to say that to yourself. You have to say, I am powerful. I am great. I am good. Everything comes to me in abundance. If you speak those words out and you manifest that, it will happen for you. You write it down on a paper and put it on your wall or something and look at it. And literally, just anytime you're having a hardship, anytime you're having a mental block, anytime you feel stressed or down, you look at that thing and you say, wow, I wrote that. I feel that. I am that. I am oneness. I am goodness. I am, God is within me. God is around me. He creates, he provides, he does whatever I need in the right time. And if it doesn't happen for me now, I will get there. And I love how you said about the mountaintop. And that's such an important thing. I want to go back to that because we are all striving to be the best people we can be every single day. And we are all striving to get to the mountaintop. But it's about enjoying the journey while you're here and enjoying every single moment that you have on the way there. Because you're not going to remember getting to the mountaintop. You're not going to experience the mountaintop. Once you get there, it's there. You're there. What about all the steps you took before? What about all the growth you did? What about all the things that you had to go through? That's where the growth is. That's where the reward is. The reward is actually experiencing these things, not taking any day for granted. My word today was conscious. Like, we have to be conscious every single day of this world. We have to raise our conscious level up. Our conscious is telling us that, our consciousness is basically, are we here? Where's our mind? Where's our mind? Like, I'm talking to you right now. I feel connected to you, right? Because we're actually looking each other eye in the eye. We're being present. We're listening to each other intently. We're being focused, right? That's what we have to do. We have to be conscious every single day in every interaction we have. Because you don't get this moment again. That moment is gone. That moment is gone. It's gone. It's gone.
What is consciousness to you?
It's a crazy question because there's a lot of different levels. Your spiritual level is a consciousness, right? Because consciousness could be consciousness is like what you could see around you, right? What you can feel, what you can touch, what you could think about, right? Sometimes I'm thinking to myself, I want to transcend consciousness. I want to transcend, and that's where my spirituality and my faith actually comes from, because you can't see God, right? You can't feel him. You can't prove that he exists. But if you have that level of consciousness that's above the transcendence of the real world, then you actually do feel him, and you actually do see him, because you see him in everything. Like you said, you see him everywhere, and you
feel that in prayer, huh?
Of course. Of course. When I tap into the prayer, I literally focus so deep, and I feel like I am talking to God. And I feel like these words on the page are jumping into my soul and through me and going up, and the light is just shining through me at all times. And that's actually, I start my day with a prayer, and that's why, and I pray at night, and that's why I feel like just all times I just have this aura around me and this light. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to shine light and spread light. And how do you get the light? You have to bring it in somehow. You have to hold it. You have to consume it. And the only way I feel like is the best way to consume it is to be a positive person, to be a gracious person, to be humble. Most importantly, like, don't get me wrong, I want to be successful. And I want to be the best every single day. I try to be my best self every single day, but I'm also very humble in that, where I don't go and I say I am the best and you're the worst. Like, no, I know I'm the best. I know I'm in the best position I need to be, and I'm humble about it, and I want to share it with others, and I don't want to hoard it all for myself. I don't want to just hold all the gold. I want to spread this gold to everyone. All these diamonds, all these resources, all these thoughts in my head, I want to share that. That's why I do my daily videos. I do these daily videos not to get money out of it, not to get notoriety or fame. I want to do it because I want to change one person's life, like I've always told you. And we've had great talks leading up to this podcast about, like, just you coming down here and me being excited, and you being excited that we're actually going to get this time to speak and speak our minds and help people out there, that we're really trying to just help you guys and help anyone out there. I'm trying to help Evan right now with the talks, and me and him we're just raising our levels. It's about raising each other up. It's about raising this world up. If you literally think about life like this, if you can raise one person up, that person will then raise another person up, raise another person up, and your world will be full of and from the darkness, it will be full of light. And instead of like feeling bad about things, people will feel good about things, and they will actually like feed off your energy.
So for me, I think if someone's sitting in a tough spot, really low emotionally, what I say is just start with like dedicating yourself to like raising your own internal
It
state.
starts with you, really.
Right.
You can't fix anyone else. You can't help anyone else until you fix yourself.
It's like the airplane thing, right? You got to put your mask on first before you help the people around you.
Exactly.
So you fill yourself up more, and like that's I think where I am, or I know where I am in my process, right? Is like I'm starting to have this beautiful effect on other people around.
Yeah.
But it's not even close to like where it will be in
You're
the future.
going on such a rocket ship, Evan, and I really want to tell you thank you. You know, we're going to wrap up in a little bit, but I want to tell you thank you before we end, because I think that what you're doing is such a beautiful thing. And anyone who wants to spread light in this world, anyone who wants to be a good person and do good things for others, that is our mission in this life. That is our purpose. When we die, like I said, they won't tell you how great of a builder you were, or a real estate entrepreneur, or a lawyer, or, you know, they'll tell you how good of a father were you, how good of a son were you, how good of a brother were you, how good of a person were you, what kindness did you do throughout this world with what you had. And even if you don't have anything, you're a poor person, you can still be kind. You can still have a smile on your face. You can still, you know, engage with a stranger and say, how is your day going? How's it going? Like, people just want to hear that. People just want to express how they're feeling. Sometimes people need that. They need to be told, like, hey, I'm here for you. Whatever you want. You want to talk to me? You want to tell me a story? I'm here. I'm here to listen. I'm here to give you advice. Whatever I have to give, I'm here to give it, because at the end of the day, that's all we have in this world. Our purpose is to give. Give, give, give. If I could tell anyone who's going through a struggle and you feel like you're stuck in a rut, just give. Just give. Give to yourself and then give to others. And then you will receive abundant blessings. But before we end, we're almost done. I wanted to ask you, I want you to plug yourself. I know that we just talked about, you know, not the business side, but I want people to know where to find you. I want people to know how they could listen to you, and explain that to the viewers. And then I'm going to obviously plug you downstairs in the description.
Awesome. Yeah, so my channel is Evan Metz on YouTube, just my name. I have a podcast called The Fulfilled Being, where I sit down with people who have a cup full energy on life and get to understand their background, their perspective, the challenges that they've been in life, to have a similar conversation like this, where you really get to understand like tips and tricks and techniques on how to improve yourself. And I also do videos every single day where I just talk to the camera about lessons that I'm learning that will help you shift your emotions from feeling pain, shame, fear, guilt, and how to transcend that and feel more love, more light, more peace in your life. So that's where I put all my content. Eventually I'll get more on Instagram and everything like that. But this is, again, like back to like when I first started, I was doing like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, like trying to build a thing. And like at the moment, I'm like growing myself, and I'm utilizing these lessons that I'm learning as I'm really elevating, and just making easy to understand videos and putting them up daily. And for me, like the ideal person I think will value the most from like my channel are people that are suffering from anxiety, like people that have a lot of feelings of fear, shame, guilt, like, and it like a lot of my discussions are how to transcend that and change that, because I used to feel a lot of fear. I used to feel a lot of shame. And at times it was debilitating. And like, because of that, I really invested in myself, and I invested, and I just kept learning, doing. And now, yeah, like still fear comes up every once in a while, right? Like, we're humans.
Of course, we all go through that.
But it's so
you feel it for a second now instead of feeling it for days and days on end.
Exactly.
And that's what I think it's a beautiful thing, because I think the strongest people are the one that go through the most struggles. They become the biggest lights, because like I said, through the darkness you become light, and you have to go through these struggles to appreciate the good times. And so, Evan, I really want to say thank you for everything, your kind words, everything that you gave to the viewers, everything you just gave to me. I won't forget it. And you're going on this amazing journey in life, and I can't wait to see where you go. And Godspeed, my friend.
Thank you. And likewise, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for this incredible podcast.
Thank you,
and
brother.
Thank you for your morning messages, man. And for what you do for the community, and for what you do for yourself.
Thank you, brother.
And the prayer.
I appreciate it, man. With all my heart. All right, all the best, guys. See you on the next episode. Thank you.
Sweet, bro.
Good stuff, my man.